suppressed, attacked, and silenced, the truth they don't want you to hear. A comprehensive testimony of retaliation, violence, and digital suppression. By John Allen Legette, founder John Allen Legette Ministries. Introduction: a voice that will not be silenced. Shalom, family. My name is John Allen Legette, founder of John Allen Legette Ministries. Today, I am speaking out not just for myself, but for every person who has ever been silenced, intimidated, or attacked for telling the truth. I speak for the whistleblowers who lost their jobs, the witnesses who were threatened into silence, and the victims of systemic corruption who were told their voices didn't matter. On September 23, 2025, I was physically assaulted in what I firmly believe was an organized act of retaliation carried out on behalf of Peter and Jacqueline Taylor Holsten, the same people I reported for Section 8 voucher fraud tied to the Lawson Housing Relocation program in Chicago. This wasn't a random act of violence. This was a calculated message sent to silence a whistleblower who dared to expose corruption in a federally funded housing program. And when I tried to share this truth publicly, something even more sinister happened. My video exposing this crime was buried, suppressed, and surrounded by fake videos using my title and ministry name to drown it out. This wasn't just censorship. This was a coordinated digital attack designed to ensure that the truth would never reach the people who need to hear it. This exposé is my response, and I will not be silent. Part 1. The foundation of MY Ministry and why I became a target. Who I am and what I stand for. For years, I have spoken out about injustice, spiritual, governmental, and systemic. My ministry, John Allen Legette Ministries, stands for truth, accountability, and righteousness in a world that often rewards deception and punishes honesty. I have dedicated my life to serving Yahuwah and speaking truth to power, regardless of the personal cost. I have ministered to the homeless, advocated for the vulnerable, and exposed corruption wherever I found it. I have never sought wealth or fame, only to be faithful to the calling that Yahuwah placed on my life. And that calling includes standing up for those who cannot stand up for themselves. The Lawson House and Section 8 voucher fraud, understanding the system. To understand why I became a target, you need to understand how Section 8 housing vouchers work and how they can be exploited for profit. What is Section 8? The Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program is a federally funded initiative administered by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. It provides rental assistance to low-income families, the elderly, and people with disabilities. The program is designed to help vulnerable populations afford safe, decent housing in the private market. How the program works. Eligible participants receive a voucher that covers a portion of their rent. The local public housing authority, PHA, pays the landlord directly. The tenant pays the difference between the actual rent and the voucher amount. Landlords must meet HUD's housing quality standard to participate. The financial incentive for fraud. Here's where the corruption comes in. Property owners and management companies receive guaranteed monthly payments from the government for each voucher holder they house. These payments are reliable, consistent, and backed by federal funds. For organizations like Holsten Human Capital Development, LLC, which manages properties housing multiple Section 8 recipients, this represents a substantial and predictable revenue stream. The Lawson House connection. Lawson House, historically known as a YMCA facility serving homeless and transitional populations in Chicago, underwent a relocation program. This program, managed by entities connected to Peter and Jacqueline Taylor Holsten, involved the transfer of Section 8 voucher holders to various properties. Attorney Jacqueline Taylor Holsten's involvement in the legal and administrative aspects of this program gave her significant control over voucher allocations and tenant placements. What I discovered during my time in the program, I observed irregularities that raised serious red flags. 1. Voucher manipulation. evidence suggesting that voucher payments were being claimed for units that didn't meet HUD standards, or for tenants who were not actually residing in the properties as claimed. 2. Documentation discrepancies. Inconsistencies between what was reported to HUD and the actual conditions and occupancy of the properties. 3. Intimidation of residents. Patterns of behavior designed to prevent residents from reporting problems or requesting inspections that might reveal violations. 4. Financial motive for retention. A clear financial incentive to keep voucher holders in the program, regardless of their actual housing needs or desires to leave, because each departure meant lost revenue. Why I reported: a matter of conscience. When I discovered these irregularities, I faced a choice: remain silent and complicit, or speak up and face the consequences. As a man of faith and a minister of the gospel, I could not in good conscience remain silent while vulnerable people were being exploited and federal funds were being misused. I reported what I had observed to the appropriate authorities. I documented everything I could. I followed the proper channels, and I believed, perhaps naively, that the system would work, that justice would prevail, and that those responsible would be held accountable. Instead, I became a target. The financial motive: why my departure threatened them. Here's the truth that makes everything else make sense. If I left the Section 8 program, they could no longer collect voucher payments tied to me. That's a direct financial loss. Multiply that by every resident who might follow my example or speak out about what they witnessed, and you're looking at a significant threat to a lucrative operation. When people with power stand to lose money, especially money they may have obtained through fraudulent means, they don't always play by the law. They don't file lawsuits or seek mediation. They retaliate. They intimidate. The silence. And on September 23, 2025, that retaliation became physical. Part 2, the assault. A detailed account of September 23, 2025. The setup: how a routine errand became a trap. On September 23, 2025, I went to a family dollar store located in my neighborhood, just a normal errand to pick up some groceries and household items. It was an ordinary day, or so I thought. But from the moment I entered that store, something felt wrong. Initial provocations inside the store. Almost immediately upon entering, I noticed unusual behavior from the store employees. They began making comments designed to provoke a reaction, not the usual customer service interactions, but deliberate attempts to agitate me. Their tone was hostile. Their body language aggressive. They seemed to be trying to start an argument to create a scene. As someone who has faced opposition before, I recognized what was happening. This wasn't random rudeness or a bad day at work. This was intentional provocation. I remained calm, kept my focus on my shopping, and refused to take the bait. The customer who wasn't shopping. Then I noticed him, a young man who entered the store shortly after I did. He was pretending to browse, but he wasn't looking at products. He was watching me. His attention was entirely focused on tracking my movements through the store. I later learned that this man was connected to the store manager, not an employee, but someone who had been brought in specifically for this encounter. He wasn't there to shop. He was there to start a fight. The manager's role: controlling the confrontation. Here's where it gets even more suspicious. When the tension in the store began to escalate, when it became clear that this customer was positioning himself for a confrontation, the store managers intervened, but not to protect me or de-escalate the situation. Instead, they seemed to be managing the timing and location of what was about to happen. They didn't allow the confrontation to happen inside the store. Why? Because an assault inside the store would be captured on security cameras. It would create liability for the business and would be harder to dismiss as a random street incident. So they let me leave, let me think I had avoided trouble. But the plan wasn't over. In fact, it was just beginning. The attack, 3 blocks of false security. The follow. As I left the Family Dollar with my grocery cart, I felt a sense of relief. I had avoided a confrontation. I was heading home, but that relief was premature. The young man from the store followed me. Not immediately, not obviously, but deliberately. He maintained a distance, staying far enough back that it wouldn't be obvious to casual observers, but close enough to keep me in sight. I walked 1 block, then 2, then 3. With each block, I thought perhaps I was being paranoid, that maybe he just happened to be going in the same direction. But deep down, I knew, I could feel it. This wasn't a coincidence. The assault. About 3 blocks from the store, it happened. Without any warning, without any provocation, without any exchange of words, he attacked me from behind. Let me be absolutely clear about this. I did not see him coming. I did not have any opportunity to defend myself. I did not engage in any mutual combat. This was not a fight. This was an assault. This was a predator attacking prey. The physical violence. The attack was brutal and methodical. 1. The initial strike. He struck me from behind with enough force to knock me to the ground. I fell hard onto the concrete sidewalk. 2. The ground assault. Once I was down, he didn't stop. He punched me 3 times in rapid succession. These weren't wild swings, they were deliberate, targeted strikes. 3. The kicks to the temple. Then came the most dangerous part. He kicked me twice in the temple, one of the most vulnerable areas of the human skull. Kicks to the temple can cause traumatic brain injury, loss of consciousness, or even death. This wasn't just assault. This was attempted serious bodily harm. 4. My defensive position. As the attack continued, I did the only thing I could do. I covered my head with my arms and tried to protect myself from further injury. I was not fighting back. I was not engaging. I was simply trying to survive. The psychological warfare. But the physical violence was only part of the attack. What happened next revealed the true nature of this assault. 1. Destroying my property. He overturned my grocery cart, scattering my belongings across the sidewalk. This wasn't necessary for the assault. This was about humiliation, about demonstrating power and control. 2. Verbal abuse. He hurled insults at me as I lay on the ground, mocking me, degrading me, trying to break my spirit as well as my body. 3. Filming the attack. Most disturbingly, he filmed the entire assault on his phone, laughing as if it were entertainment. He was documenting his crime, creating a trophy of my humiliation. This suggests he felt completely confident that there would be no consequences, that he was protected. The symbolism, the lion head shirt. And then there was the detail that made it absolutely clear this wasn't random. He wore an alien head shirt. For those who don't understand the significance, let me explain. As many of you know, I serve Yahuwah, the God of Israel, who is called the Lion of Judah in Scripture. The lion is a symbol of strength, courage, and divine authority. It represents the power of God and the victory of his people. This attacker wore a lion head shirt while assaulting a minister who serves the Lion of Judah. This wasn't fashion. This wasn't a coincidence. This was a message. This was mockery. This was spiritual intimidation designed to humiliate me and mock my faith. It was as if he was saying, "Your God can't protect you. Your faith means nothing. We can do whatever we want to you." But what he didn't understand, what they all failed to understand, is that the Lion of Judah doesn't lose. The battle may be fierce, but the victory is already won. The aftermath, calculated abandonment. The vanishing police officer. Here's another detail that proves this was coordinated. There was a police officer in the Family Dollar store earlier before the assault. I saw him. Other customers saw him. He was there. But when the assault happened just 3 blocks away, just minutes later, that officer was nowhere to be found. He had vanished, disappeared, as if someone knew what was about to happen and made sure law enforcement wouldn't be nearby to intervene or immediately respond. The silent witnesses. Other people saw what happened. I know they did. I saw them watching, but no one intervened. No one called for help. No one came to my aid. Was it fear, apathy, or had they been warned not to get involved? The message. This wasn't just a physical assault. It was a message, loud and clear. We can reach you anywhere. We can hurt you anytime, and no one will help you. It was designed to make me feel isolated, vulnerable, and afraid. It was designed to make me stop talking, stop reporting, stop exposing the truth. But it had the opposite effect. It made me more determined than ever to speak out. Part 3. The digital suppression, metadata manipulation, and algorithmic burial. My response, documenting the truth. After the assault, I did what any responsible citizen and truth-teller would do. I documented everything. I recorded a video testimony detailing exactly what had happened, who I believed was responsible, and why I believed this was retaliation for my whistleblowing. I titled the video, "Peter and Jackie Holsten arranged for me to get beaten up for reporting their Section 8 voucher fraud." I uploaded it to YouTube on the same day as the attack, September 23, 2025. I wanted the truth to be public, to be preserved, to be available for anyone who wanted to know what really happened. I believed that in the age of social media and digital transparency, the truth would spread. I believed that people would see the video, share it, and that the story would gain traction. I was wrong, because shortly after I uploaded my video, something even stranger and more sinister began to happen online. The flood of fake videos, a coordinated attack. Within hours of my video going live, multiple YouTube channels, none of which had anything to do with my ministry, none of which had ever mentioned me before, began uploading videos with my exact title. Peter and Jackie Holsten arranged for me to get beaten up for reporting their Section 8 voucher fraud. But here's the thing, these weren't legitimate videos about the incident. They were empty videos with no real content, unrelated videos that had nothing to do with the assault or Section 8 fraud, misleading videos designed to confuse and misdirect viewers, decoy videos created solely to bury my authentic testimony, the metadata manipulation, stealing my words. But it gets worse. These fake videos didn't just use my title, they used my ministry name, John Allen Legette Ministries. In their metadata, tags, and descriptions, they were deliberately impersonating my ministry, using my intellectual property, and exploiting my name to manipulate search results. What is metadata manipulation? Metadata is the information attached to digital content that helps search engines and platforms categorize and rank it. This includes video titles, descriptions, tags, channel names, upload dates, engagement metrics. By creating multiple videos with identical or similar metadata to my authentic video, these bad actors were able to 1. Dilute search results. When someone searched for information about the assault or my testimony, they would find dozens of fake videos instead of my real one. 2. Confuse viewers. People looking for my testimony would click on these fake videos, become confused, and give up trying to find the truth. 3. Suppress my video's ranking. YouTube's algorithm would see multiple videos with similar metadata and lower the ranking of all of them, including my authentic video, treating them as spam or duplicate content. 4. Create plausible deniability. If questioned, The perpetrators could claim these were just random users coincidentally using similar titles, even though the coordination was obvious. The deceptive thumbnails, racial misdirection. Some of these fake videos used misleading thumbnails, including images of a black man, even though the channel owner is clearly not black. This was a deliberate attempt to confuse viewers about which video was authentic, exploit racial identity, to misdirect people searching for my testimony, create false associations that would discredit my actual video. This isn't just unethical, it's a form of digital blackface, using racial imagery to deceive and manipulate. The disappearing act, covering their tracks. And then, after these fake videos had served their purpose, after they had appeared in search results long enough to push my video down in the algorithm, they would be removed, deleted, vanished. This left no visible trace of the manipulation. To a casual observer, it would seem like my video just didn't perform well, that people weren't interested, that the algorithm naturally ranked it low. But that's not what happened. My video was deliberately buried through a coordinated campaign of metadata manipulation and algorithmic gaming. The evidence, numbers don't lie. Let me show you the proof. My original video statistics. Actual views. 76 people have watched my video. Search result views. Only 2 views are shown in the search results. Discrepancy. 74 views are missing from the public count. This isn't a glitch. This isn't a technical error. This is suppression. Search result manipulation. My video has been excluded from normal ranking algorithms. Fake videos using my exact title flood the search results. My metadata, my own intellectual property, is being used without authorization. The truth is being actively buried. What this means, obstruction of evidence. This is not just an online annoyance. This is not just internet drama. This is obstruction of evidence and a violation of platform integrity. When someone uses digital manipulation to suppress evidence of a crime, they are 1. Interfering with justice, making it harder for law enforcement, journalists, and the public to access information about a criminal act. 2. Violating platform terms of service. YouTube's policies prohibit impersonation, metadata manipulation, and coordinated inauthentic behavior. 3. Committing potential crimes. Depending on jurisdiction, this could constitute witness intimidation, obstruction of justice, or conspiracy to conceal a crime. 4. Demonstrating consciousness of guilt. Why would innocent people go to such lengths to suppress a video, unless they knew it contained a damaging truth? The bigger picture, digital suppression as a weapon. What happened to my video is part of a larger pattern of digital suppression being used to silence whistleblowers, activists, and truth-tellers. In the modern age, controlling information is controlling power, and those with resources can manipulate algorithms to bury inconvenient truths, flood platforms with disinformation to drown out authentic voices, exploit platform policies to get legitimate content removed or suppressed, coordinate attacks across multiple accounts to overwhelm individual users. This is the new face of censorship. It's not government agents knocking on doors. Sophisticated digital warfare designed to make the truth invisible. Part 4. A direct message to Peter and Jacqueline Taylor, Holsten. Peter Holsten, Jacqueline Taylor Holsten. I am speaking to you directly now. I want you to hear these words clearly, without any ambiguity, without any room for misunderstanding. You cannot silence the truth. You can try to silence me. You can hire people to intimidate me. You can orchestrate violence against me. You can manipulate metadata, suppress my voice online, and use every tool at your disposal to bury the truth. But what you cannot stop, what you will never be able to stop, is the truth itself. Truth has a way of emerging. It seeps through the cracks. It finds the light. It refuses to stay buried, no matter how much dirt you pile on top of it. I have documented everything. You should know that I have documented everything. Screenshots of the fake videos using my title and ministry name. Archives of the metadata manipulation. Records of the view count discrepancies. Evidence of the coordinated timing of these attacks. Witness statements about the assault. Medical documentation of my injuries. Communications related to my Section 8 fraud reports. Financial records that establishes motive. All of this has been preserved. All of this has been backed up. All of this will be available when the time comes for accountability. I will continue to speak out. I will continue to speak out, not because I want revenge, but because Yahuwah is a God of justice, and He commands me to expose evil. The Bible is clear about this. Have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. Ephesians 5:11. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and needy. Proverbs 31:8-9. Learn to do right, seek justice. Defend the oppressed. Take up the cause of the fatherless. Plead the case of the widow. Isaiah 1:17. This is not optional for me. This is my calling. This is my duty before God, and I will not abandon it because of threats, violence, or digital suppression. This is not just about me. This is not just about me. This is not about personal grievance or individual revenge. This is about a system that thinks it can. Weaponized poverty programs designed to help vulnerable people. Abuse power entrusted to them by the government and the public. Silence whistleblowers. Who dares to expose corruption? Use violence as a tool of intimidation. Manipulate digital platforms to control information and get away with it. If they can do this to me, they can do it to anyone. If they can silence one whistleblower, they can silence them all. If they can corrupt one program, they can corrupt any program. This is about whether we live in a society where truth matters, where justice is possible, and where the powerful can be held accountable. The Lion of Judah cannot be silenced. You chose to mock my faith by having your attacker wear a lion head shirt. You thought you were sending a message of dominance and intimidation. But you misunderstood the symbolism. The lion doesn't represent me. The lion represents the God I serve, and His roar cannot be silenced. The lion has roared, who will not fear? The sovereign Lord has spoken, who can but prophesy? Amos 3:8. You can attack the messenger, but you cannot stop the message. You can harm the servant, but you cannot defeat the master. A warning and an invitation. I want to be clear. I am not threatening you. I am not seeking vigilante justice. I am not calling for violence or harassment against you. But I am warning you. The truth will come out. It always does. And when it does, you will have to answer for what you've done, not just to me, but to every person you've exploited, every system you've corrupted, every life you've damaged in pursuit of profit. And I am inviting you. Repent. Acknowledge what you've done. Make it right. Come clean before the consequences become irreversible. There is still time for redemption. There is still an opportunity for justice to be restorative rather than purely punitive. But that window is closing. The choice is yours. Part 5, a call to action, how you can help. If you're watching this, if you're reading this, if you've made it this far in my testimony, then you understand the gravity of what I'm facing, and I need your help. This is not just my fight. This is a battle against corruption, intimidation, and injustice that affects all of us. When whistleblowers are silenced, when truth is suppressed, when violence is used to enforce compliance, we all lose. What you can do right now: 1. Share this testimony. The more people who know the truth, the harder it is to bury. Every share, every repost, every conversation you have about this testimony is an act of resistance against suppression. Share on social media platforms. Email it to friends and family. Post it in community groups. Send it to journalists and activists. Make it impossible to ignore. 2. Engage with the content. Every interaction helps break through algorithmic suppression. Comment on the video with your thoughts and support. Like the video signals its value to the algorithm. Subscribe to my channel to ensure you see future updates. Turn on notifications so you're alerted to new content. Watch the full video to increase its engagement metrics. These might seem like small actions, but they have a real impact on how platforms rank and distribute content. 3. Document and archive. Help preserve the evidence. Screenshot the fake videos if you find them. Archive web pages using services like archive.org. Save copies of this testimony. Record any suspicious activity you notice. Report impersonation and metadata manipulation on platforms. Digital evidence can disappear quickly. Help ensure it's preserved. 4. Amplify to authorities and media. Bring this to the attention of people who can investigate and act. Contact local news outlets in Chicago. Reach out to investigative journalists. Inform HUD's Office of Inspector General about the Section 8 fraud allegations. Alert the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center about the digital suppression. Notify YouTube about the coordinated inauthentic behavior. The more official attention this receives, the harder it becomes to dismiss or ignore. 5. Pray and stand in spiritual solidarity. For those of faith, this is also a spiritual battle. Pray for my protection and strength. Pray for truth to be revealed and justice to be served. Pray for those who attacked me, that they would repent. Pray for all victims of corruption and violence. Stand in spiritual authority against the forces of darkness. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Ephesians 6:12. What this fight represents. This is about more than one assault, more than one case of fraud, more than one suppressed video. This is about the right to speak truth. In a free society, people must be able to report corruption without fear of violent retaliation. Whistleblower protections exist for a reason, because exposing wrongdoing serves the public good, even when it threatens private interests. The integrity of public programs. Section 8 and other poverty assistance programs are funded by taxpayer dollars and designed to help vulnerable people. When these programs are corrupted for profit, it's not just fraud, it's a betrayal of public trust and a theft from those who need help most. The power of digital platforms. Social media and video platforms have become the modern public square. When these platforms can be manipulated to suppress truth and amplify lies, we lose our ability to hold the powerful accountable. Platform integrity is essential to democratic discourse. The courage to stand alone. Sometimes doing the right thing means standing alone, facing opposition, and enduring attacks. But when we stand together, when we support those who speak truth at great personal cost, we make it possible for others to find the courage to do the same. A message to other whistleblowers. If you're reading this and you've witnessed corruption, fraud, or abuse of power, if you're afraid to speak out because of what might happen to you, I want you to know, you are not alone. There are more of us than you think. There are people who will stand with you, who will amplify your voice, who will fight for your right to tell the truth. Your voice matters. What you've witnessed, what you know, what you can testify to, it has value. It can make a difference. It can change systems, protect others, and bring justice. The risk is real, but so is the reward. I won't lie to you, speaking truth to power comes with consequences. I've experienced them firsthand. But the alternative, staying silent while evil continues unchecked, is a worse fate. The reward of a clear conscience, of knowing you did the right thing, of potentially saving others from harm, that's worth the risk. Document everything. Learn from my experience. Keep detailed records. Save communications. Take screenshots. Back up files. Create multiple copies in multiple locations. Make it impossible for the truth to be completely erased. Find your community. Don't try to do this alone. Connect with other whistleblowers, with advocacy organizations, with journalists, with legal aid. There are people and resources available to help you navigate this difficult path. Part 6. The legal and systemic context. Understanding Section 8 fraud, a national problem. What I've experienced in Chicago is not an isolated incident. Section 8 fraud is a nationwide problem that costs taxpayers billions of dollars and harms the very people the program is designed to help. Common types of Section 8 fraud. 1. Landlord fraud. Charging rents above fair market value. Claiming properties meet HUD standards when they don't. Collecting payments for vacant units. Failing to report changes in tenant status. 2. Tenant fraud. Underreporting income. Failing to report additional household members. Subletting voucher units. Providing false information on applications. 3. Management company fraud. Manipulating voucher allocations. Creating phantom tenants. Falsifying inspection reports. Coordinating with landlords to inflate costs. 4. Systemic fraud. Entire organizations are built around exploiting the program. Networks of properties, all engaged in similar violations. Intimidation of residents to prevent reporting. Retaliation against whistleblowers. The scale of the problem. According to HUD's Office of Inspector General, Section 8 fraud investigations result in hundreds of millions in recoveries annually. Thousands of cases are investigated each year. Many more cases go unreported due to fear of retaliation. The actual cost of fraud is likely much higher than reported figures. Why fraud persists? 1. Complexity. The Section 8 program involves multiple parties: HUD, local PHAs, landlords, management companies, tenants with limited oversight. 2. Vulnerability. Recipients are often in desperate situations and afraid to report problems. 3. Profit motive. Guaranteed government payments create strong financial incentives for fraud. 4. Limited enforcement. Understaffed agencies struggle to investigate all allegations. 5. Retaliation. Whistleblowers face real risks, discouraging reporting. Whistleblower protections, what the law says. Federal law provides protections for whistleblowers who report fraud involving government programs. The False Claims Act, 31 U.S.C. Section 3729.3.733, allows private citizens to file lawsuits on behalf of the government, provides protection against retaliation, offers financial rewards for successful cases, covers fraud involving federal funds, including Section 8. HUD's whistleblower protection prohibits retaliation against those who report violations. Includes protection from termination, harassment, and discrimination. Covers employees, tenants, and applicants. Provides mechanisms for filing complaints. Criminal penalties for retaliation. Federal law makes it a crime to retaliate against whistleblowers. Penalties can include fines and imprisonment. Applies to physical violence, threats, and intimidation. Covers both direct and indirect retaliation. My case: the assault I experienced on September 23, 2025, if proven to be retaliation for my whistleblowing, would constitute a serious federal crime. The coordination, planning, and execution of the attack, combined with the subsequent digital suppression, suggest a level of organization that goes beyond simple assault. Digital suppression, the new frontier of censorship. The metadata manipulation and algorithmic suppression I've experienced represent a growing threat to free speech and access to information. How digital suppression works. 1. Algorithmic manipulation. Flooding platforms with similar content to dilute authentic voices. Gaming engagement metrics to lower ranking. Coordinating mass reporting to trigger automated removals. Exploiting platform policies to suppress legitimate content. 2. Metadata exploitation. Using identical or similar titles, tags, and descriptions. Impersonating legitimate accounts or organizations. Creating confusion about which content is authentic. Making it difficult for users to find real information. 3. Coordinated inauthentic behavior. Multiple accounts working together to suppress content. Time to text to maximize impact. Removal of evidence after achieving suppression goals. Plausible deniability through apparent randomness. Legal and ethical issues. 1. Platform terms of service violations. Impersonation. Spam and deceptive practices. Coordinated inauthentic behavior. Manipulation of platform features. 2. Intellectual property violations. Unauthorized use of names and trademarks. Misappropriation of content. False association and endorsement. 3. Potential criminal conduct. Obstruction of justice if suppressing evidence of crimes. Witness intimidation. Conspiracy to commit fraud. Computer fraud and abuse. The broader implications. What happened to my video is happening to countless others. Activists exposing corruption. Journalists reporting inconvenient truths. Victims documenting abuse. Whistleblowers sharing evidence. When digital platforms can be weaponized to suppress truth, we lose our ability to hold the powerful accountable. This is not just a technical problem, it's a threat to democracy itself. Part 7, the spiritual dimension. Why faith matters in this fight. Some might wonder why I keep bringing up my faith, why I reference scripture, why I talk about serving Yahuwah. Let me explain. Faith provides purpose. Without faith, this fight would be about personal grievance, about revenge, about ego. But my faith transforms it into something larger, a calling to pursue justice, to defend the vulnerable, to expose evil. This isn't about me. It's about serving a higher purpose. Faith provides strength. When you're facing physical violence, digital suppression, and systemic opposition, you need a source of strength beyond yourself. My faith in Yahuwah gives me that strength. It reminds me that I am not alone in this fight. The battle belongs to the Lord. Truth will ultimately prevail. Justice may be delayed, but not denied. My suffering has meaning and purpose. Faith provides perspective. It would be easy to become consumed by anger, bitterness, and desire for revenge. But my faith calls me to a higher standard. Do not repay anyone evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everyone. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath, for it is written, "It is mine to avenge. I will repay," says the Lord. Romans 12:17-19. I am not seeking personal vengeance. I am seeking justice through proper channels, while trusting that ultimate accountability rests with God. Faith provides hope. In the darkest moments, lying on that sidewalk being kicked in the head, watching my video be buried online, feeling the weight of opposition, my faith gives me hope. Hope that truth is more powerful than lies. Light overcomes darkness. Justice will be served. God sees everything and forgets nothing. This story is not over. The spiritual battle behind the physical one. The Bible teaches that behind every physical conflict is a spiritual reality. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Ephesians 6:12. Peter and Jacqueline Holsten are not my true enemies. They are human beings, flawed and fallen like all of us, who have made terrible choices. The real enemy is the spirit of greed, corruption, violence, and deception that drives such choices. The symbolism of the lion. When my attacker wore that lion head shirt, he thought he was mocking me, but he was actually revealing a spiritual truth. This is a battle between two kingdoms. The kingdom of darkness, which operates through intimidation, violence, and suppression. The kingdom of light, represented by the Lion of Judah, which operates through truth, justice, and righteousness. The lion on his shirt was meant to mock, but the Lion of Judah is not mocked. He roars, and the kingdoms of this world tremble. A call to spiritual warfare. For those of faith who are reading this, I'm calling you to engage in spiritual warfare on behalf of this cause. Pray for protection over me and my ministry, for truth to be revealed and justice to be served, for those who attack me to repent and turn from evil, for all victims of corruption and violence, for the exposure and dismantling of corrupt systems. Fast. Set aside time to seek God's intervention. Demonstrate the seriousness of this spiritual battle. Align yourself with God's purposes. Declare. Speak truth and righteousness over this situation. Proclaim God's justice and judgment. Stand in spiritual authority against evil. Stand. Don't be passive in the face of injustice. Use your voice, your resources, your influence. Be willing to take risks for what's right. This is not just a legal battle or a public relations campaign. This is a spiritual war, and it requires spiritual weapons. Conclusion. This is MY Testimony. I am John Allen Legette, founder of John Allen Legette Ministries, and this is my testimony. On September 23, 2025, I was physically assaulted in what I believe was an organized act of retaliation for reporting Section 8 voucher fraud. I was attacked from behind, punched, kicked in the head, and humiliated, all while being filmed by my attacker. When I tried to share this truth publicly, my video was buried through a coordinated campaign of metadata manipulation and digital suppression. Fake videos using my exact title and ministry name flooded search results, making it nearly impossible for people to find my authentic testimony. But I will not be silenced. I have documented everything. I have preserved the evidence. I have spoken the truth, and I will continue to speak regardless of the consequences. To those who attacked me, you have failed. You wanted to silence me, but you've given me a platform. You wanted to intimidate me, but you've strengthened my resolve. You wanted to bury the truth, but you've only made it more urgent to share. To those who are watching, thank you for taking the time to hear my story. Thank you for caring about truth and justice. Thank you for being willing to stand with me in this fight. To other whistleblowers, your courage matters, your voice matters, your truth matters. Don't let fear silence you. Document everything, find your community, and speak up. To my God, Yeshua, thank you for sustaining me through this trial. Thank you for giving me the strength to stand. Thank you for being the Lion of Judah whose roar cannot be silenced. I trust you for justice, and I commit this cause to you. The truth will prevail. They can suppress my video, but they cannot suppress the truth. They can attack my body, but they cannot break my spirit. They can manipulate algorithms, but they cannot change reality. They can try to silence me, but they cannot silence the Lion of Judah. The truth will prevail, justice will be served, and the Lion of Judah will roar. This is my testimony, this is my truth, this is my stand. And I will not be moved. Shalom and blessings. John Allen Legette. Founder John Allen Legette Ministries. Stay connected. Final word. Thank you for reading this expanded testimony. Thank you for caring about truth, justice, and righteousness. Thank you for being willing to stand against corruption and violence. Together we can make a difference. Together we can hold the powerful accountable. Together we can ensure that truth prevails. The Lion of Judah roars, and his voice will not be silenced. This testimony is a true and accurate account of events as I experienced and understand them. All statements are made to the best of my knowledge and belief. I stand by every word and am prepared to testify under oath to these facts. John Allen Legette, October 2025.